and welcome to Watching Worst Films, your guide to Razzie history, the podcast in which each week we take a year and we watch the Golden Raspberry Worst Film winner, and then in the second half we discuss all of the other nominees and winners. My name is Jericho Reed, and with me is Kyle Szymanski.
Hello, hello, hello.
This year we head off to 1984 and Bolero. So, just to cover this, Bolero, awful, utterly Razzie-worthy. Thank you for listening. You can join us next week when we'll be watching.
I was going to say, I hope the listeners are ready for a fucking 20-minute episode.
I'll try and pent things up for a moment just so we can go through our usual things. So, we watched this through less than legal means. Kyle, what was your experience, your pre-experience with Bo Derek?
Not much. Ghosts Can't Do It is pretty much the only thing I've aware of and half seen. I've spoke to you about it before. I remember from Tommy Boy, Chris Farley's stepmom, I believe, and I love Tommy Boy, so there's one thing. But other than that, I know, the weird. I know of Bo Derek. I know of the Razzie connection to her. I have no idea about Bolero. I have not a fucking clue what this was. Assumed kind of correctly what it was. That, it was going to be her husband, John Derek, filming a fucking hour and a half of her getting railed.
It's an erotic odyssey, Kyle. You've got to give it a little bit more.
But yeah, nothing to be honest, nothing at all. This is all new to me. What about yourself?
Even less than you. I knew of Bo Derek since we started doing this podcast, and from you. Prior to that, it would have been Eddie the Eagle. Have you seen Eddie the Eagle?
No, I have
not. The Dexter Fletcher movie with Taron Egerton. Hugh Jackman is training him to jump, a speed jump. Yeah. And he's like, "Who's your favorite actress?" And Taron Egerton is like, "Honestly, Bo Derek." And I didn't appreciate that at the time, but now I certainly do. And so Hugh Jackman's like, okay, skiing is a lot like making love to Bo Derek. And that's a recurrent thing throughout the film.
Okay.
But as for Bo herself, nothing. And on the basis of this, I am not excited about checking out future offerings which her and her husband have concocted.
That's what I was going to say as well. I know less of John Derek. I know he's a old school actor, 50s, I believe. Yeah. But I've not seen him in anything. I know him as Bo Derek's husband.
Yeah.
Not much. But yeah, I'm dreading everything future.
Do we know what Bo Derek's maiden name was, actually?
I don't know. I did one little bit of research for this film. I go on completely blind. There was just, while I was watching, there was something, and I did see her real name. It's obviously not fucking Bo, but I can't remember it, and I don't care enough to look it up. So if you care to, then feel free.
It's Mary Kathleen Collins, and when John Derek died, she married another John. So I don't know if he then took her name and became John Derek.
I like to think so.
Okay, so Bolero, on a budget of $7 million. How much do you reckon this made?
$7 million. I'm also trying to think what's happened for inflation as well. Like, what would that be?
Yeah, $200 million.
I'm gonna go. I don't think it's made a profit. I don't know if it broke even. I'm gonna say just under broke even. So I'm gonna go with $5 million.
You're kind of close. $8.9 million.
That's over though. That is over.
It's just over. So I don't know that.
And you're going
the rule they use of you kind of need to make back double your budget in order to be profitable. But
that rule applies though when there's marketing involved as well, isn't there? Though things aren't.
But this is an MGM.
This is a canon fucking film.
This is an MGM movie.
This is a canon fucking film. This is a canon fucking film. This is dumped. I assume it probably did okay on home video as well for obvious reasons.
It seems like one of those ones that would just be playing on cable, late night cable,
movies for men 2, 3 a.m. Yeah, okay, so no, it's still under though. It's over, sorry. I thought it'd be under. So
yeah,
what was that? 8 million? That's still too much. Too many people went to see this. Who went to see fucking Bolero?
So Bolero gets underway with a kind of silent cinema-esque opening, and that raised my expectations, I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, okay, they're playing with form, this is going to be interesting, and then we get an abrupt cut, and it just launches us into the world of Bolero, which is set in the
In the
20s.
20s, yeah. I mean, so like,
Yeah,
okay, they're going for. So I kind of have a little bit of thought. I felt the same as you. I kind of got a bit suckered in. I was like, okay, something different. And then
yeah,
as always, I don't know why I do this with films, but the font looked disgusting and cheap and
yeah,
and there was like 6 production companies with random names.
yeah.
John Derek picture produced by Bo Derek. I was like, oh fuck. Once I seen that, like I didn't have, I would talk about like Gilet and stuff where I kind of got suckered in for a bit longer. Here, I'm talking 15 seconds of and then nah. But yeah, it's set in the 20s because the first bit I noticed as well. There's a English student, I believe, with a very terrible accent talking about how, what a muffin 30-year-old Bo Derek is. And yeah, like, so it's in the 19. I don't know. I don't know the exact year. It doesn't. I don't think it really matters either, to be honest.
Yeah. So my first note is slow-mo running, and I was still trying to cling to positives. I was like, this is better than Swept Away because this is clearly shot by a man who loves his wife. Like, there is, like, the camera has a kind of affection
Yeah.
for her, which it does not have in Swept Away when it's just reveling in watching Madonna getting the shit beat
Yeah.
out of her. Whereas the camera's like, hey, look at my wife. Everybody, look at my wife. Isn't she, like, so hot? Let's watch my wife running around. So I was like, okay, that's a positive for their relationship at least.
100%. And it also looks like a movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a fucking commercial. It looks like a 1980, whatever, 3, 4 movie, low budget, but it does look like a movie. And
Yeah.
there is some costumes and stuff and some locations already. Like,
The people wear clothes for
yeah,
part of the
for
movie's
part of
running
it.
time.
But that was good though, because again, I'm dreading that this is going to be trapped in a room or something. Absolutely, I was like, okay, we're going to see something like
Yeah.
visually. I will see something that will be at least this is a movie I'm watching and not a home video from the Derricks.
Well, did you see who the cinematographer was? Because we spoke about that
I
last
did,
time
I
with
did. I've got a note
Robert
here.
Elswit.
It's
Yeah.
John Derrick.
Yeah.
So,
So,
but like he comes from movies, like he's been in the 50s and I'm sure it's the 50s or 40s. He's an old man. So he at least knows what a movie is. And I'm not going to compare it to Swept Away, but like I wouldn't say the cinematography is great, but it gets it. It's very confident.
yeah. On a budget of like 7 million or whatever, it's like, and when he's also directing, I think the cinematography is fine. I thought it was just funny how we discussed Robert Elswit last week and Paul Thomas Anderson turning cinematographer. And was Paul Thomas Anderson inspired by John Derek? Hard to say. Hard to say.
I was more concentrating on the Bo Derek production. Like she's producing
Yeah.
all this. And I was like, what the fuck did she do? Did she fund it? What was she doing? Like, is that just a vanity
She was
Hollywood
just
sort of
like,
thing?
John Derek presented a lineup of hunky guys, and she was like, I'll have that one, and that one, and that one. It's funny though, Bo Derek's like title card, like when it comes up with that producer credit, she's topless doing, I think, the Charleston. She's
Yeah.
kind of like moving her knees together, doing some kind of dance, and I'm like, this surely has to be the first time in cinematic history that a producer has appeared topless alongside their
Yeah.
title card.
100%.
Did you see the composers?
I did not know.
So the composer was Peter Bernstein. And I was like, oh, Peter Bernstein, is this like the Coppolas? Hey, Francis, it's your cousin, Bobby Coppola. Can you get a job for my son, Jimmy? But no later than we get score by Peter Bernstein. It says love theme composed by Elmer Bernstein.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he might have conducted as well or something. Anyway, Elmer was involved. And I was like, wow, so is this like the Hans Zimmer Academy where Peter Bernstein is like the protege? Like we can't afford Elmer, so we'll get him to do the sex scenes, and we'll get his apprentice to do the rest.
I assume they're brothers as well.
No, it's father and son, I
Oh, it's
think.
father and son. Is it? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. So yeah, master apprentice. Yeah. I don't know. I know Elmer. Don't know the brother son. So whatever.
And then we get a lot of crash zooms in this film, just something to like flag up a little bit here. But my next note, pedophile chauffeur.
Yeah, so like pedophilia is going to come up a little bit here. Some of my notes, like So, but this is beforehand. Yeah, it's George Kennedy though.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
It's The Naked Gun. It's the one that's not
Okay.
Leslie Nielsen.
I've not seen The Naked Gun.
Well, you're
any of them.
missing out. So, and then I think he's in the actual airplane movies, not the comedy ones.
Oh, okay.
The disaster
Yeah,
films. I'm sure
the
he's in
original. Yeah, that they were parodying. Yeah.
But you know, for me, I was like, okay, it's someone I recognize, which is not a great. You know, I'm not getting a Sandler-esque fucking SNL or something that's going to make me happy. But I was like, okay, like he's probably going to be the comedic relief or something.
Yeah.
And he is the chauffeur. What's his name again? He's fucking Cotton. Cotton, that's what it is.
Cotton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I've got notes here about Cotton later on. I mean, he's my picture as well for the background for this. But yeah, he is the chauffeur because Bo Derek. I don't know her name in this. I'm just going to call her Bo Derek.
Yeah.
I don't even know if anyone uses her name. She's a rich. Let's just kind of set the film up. She's a rich. Post college. I don't know how old she's meant to be in the film.
Yeah, she's graduated, so I guess like early 20s.
Generous. It's very generous. Especially when you can't. Anyway, she is graduating.
She had to repeat a few years, so she's late 20s. Maybe.
Yes. And she wants to travel the world so she can lose her virginity to the right man. This isn't set up very well. It's weirdly dialogued and stuff. And she's going to take her best friend with her. I think it's her best friend. Some Spanish. I don't know. Some Spanish.
Her wing woman.
It's wing woman. Some Spaniard. And her chauffeur is going to go with them to a company like to keep them safe. Or I really don't know.
Well, let's just cover it. He's a pedophile because he says that she's running around naked, and he says to her, "You've changed since the last time I saw you without any clothes. That was when you were 3 or 4.
Literally my fucking first line. And there's a bit after it as well. My first note, sorry. There's a bit after it. Is how you've grown into your body or something as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a line. And holy fucking shit.
You know what? He says, "You've changed since the last time I saw you without any clothes, 3 or 4. And Bo replies, "That was nicely said."
Yes. So right, like, yeah, this is fucking weird. This film made me uncomfortable. I've got to be honest. Like for not Cotton. I mean, because he's not the man writing these lines. It's John Derek that's writing these fucking lines, right? And it wasn't this scene. I'm jumping ahead, but I need to cover this weirdness out of the way already. Okay. Yeah. There's their little protege, gypsy girl. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
She's 14. Okay.
She's 13.
13. There you go. Right. And she has a nude scene. And that fucking
several,
but
she's just in the background. The shots, like taking a bath,
fucking weird, right? And it made me just think, hey, this is really uncomfortable, right? So I just looked up John Derek because I was very suspicious, just in case something came out, just in case.
John Derek serving 25 to life for possession of indecent images.
I was like, this is fucking weird. You wrote this. Why did you do that? You directed this. Why are you putting this in? And
he was fighting the studio. Listen, she must be 13. It is pivotal to my wife's character.
This is why it comes all together. So the only thing I looked up about this, and I paused it. I actually stopped because I got weirded out by it. John Derek met Bo Derek when she was 13.
Yeah.
And then it all clicked, and I was like, all right. Yeah. And then he had to hide her out of the country or something, so he didn't get statutory rapes, and then married her when he was 18. And he was old by this point as well. Like, again, he's an old man. This isn't 20, the grey lines or something. No, he is a genuine predator.
There's no Romeo and Juliet laws.
No.
He's an adult.
He's a retired actor by this point. It's fucking gross. And I was like, why would you write this into your film? Like, why would you do this? So yeah,
it's fascinating. We can get into like the psychosexual reading of Bolero later on, but like it's an interesting insight into what could potentially be spiraling around John Derek's psyche.
Yes, and I maybe as we get to Ghosts Can't Do It and we further the John, maybe Tarzan one day it'll come up again. But yeah, this is a weird look into John Derek more than Bo Derek. So yeah, I needed to get that all out there because those are like all my first fucking notes.
Because it leans straight into it, like, oh, why don't we have a character who's like a senior man who is a pedophile? Why don't we introduce him within the opening 2 minutes of the film?
Yep.
I was like, are you trying to tell us something, John?
If he wasn't a retired actor, he'd be playing that fucking part, wouldn't he?
Tell you what, that would have improved this film immeasurably if John Derek was just like a character on the sidelines egging Bo on.
Yeah. I just anyway, we can move swiftly on from this, because this is the unpleasantness that I just couldn't escape from, and I don't think I'm creeped out by a film so much so quickly as well.
Well, let's get back on track, because we have another Scottish character.
All right, so my second
keeping tally, we have the troll in Emoji Movie. We have Billy Connolly in Indecent Proposal. We had someone else, and now we get this guy in a kilt who I've
got the exact same note. I was like, I've literally wrote, for fuck's sake, another token Scot. That is my exact note, because he is full kilt, and I actually, again, this is one of the few things I looked
apart from when he's naked, he's never not wearing the kilt.
He's never not wearing the kilt. Again, I know it's something I've spoke about is, overly Scottish accents. I looked him up because I was, again, suspicious.
He was Scottish.
And he was Scottish. No, only credit as well, I think, or he only did. Yeah, no, so because it was a real accent, but Americans turned it up, for the American audience.
Yeah, it sounded so fake. It's like, it was Kelly MacDonald, the other Scottish character. It was a similar ballpark to, he's doing an unreal Scottish movie. Like, he almost sounds like a Lemmy character or something.
Yeah.
Mr. Derek, you're accusing me of being a shoplifter. A Kinder Surprise. Yeah, so he's there. Do you have anything more to say about him at this juncture?
He is both solicitor or lawyer or some shit. I think it's solicitor, though. I don't know what he fucking says, because basically I have 2 more notes until we move on swiftly the fuck on. I have, holy shit, this dialogue already is so stilted and weird, and no one could deliver this. No one. And that really worried me, because we are 10 minutes into this fucking film, and it is atrocious. So this is heart-sinking shit already. And then my next one is, holy crap, we've zooped to the Casbah. We just cut and we're in Morocco.
Yeah.
There's no nice transition. There's no little, I'm getting on a plane, goodbye world, I'm going to go lose my virginity, goodbye me. It is just, boom, we're in Morocco, and I got whiplash. I was like, all right, well, but like, we're moving at least. So I have a couple more notes while we're in Morocco.
Well, that's my next note, is meeting the Sheikh.
Yeah.
So, I have one. While we're in Morocco, we get another Casablanca reference.
Yep.
So if we're tallying the token Scots in the Razzie winners, we should also keep track of every movie that has a Casablanca reference, because Shining Through is a Casablanca reference. The Emoji Movie has one. Tons of them have one. I want to say we're probably at least 40% of Casablanca references.
At this time as well, John Derek was 43 when Casablanca came out, so, like, I'm allowing him to do this.
Yeah. But we get someone playing as time goes by, as they're in a bar in Casablanca. Mm-hmm. And it's not like it's playing in the background. It's like a good little chunk of the movie is devoted to listening to the opening of As Time Goes By, because he wants you to get it. But we get meeting the Sheikh. My observation there is, this is painful.
This is
everyone is a bad actor.
Everyone's a bad actor. He is the whitest Sheikh I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, so when it came on, when he popped on, and I was like, okay, it's a bad accent. It's offensive. It's borderline pure racism. But I was like, they haven't yellow-faced him, dirtied him up, or, brown-faced him.
No, that's the one redeeming thing, is they haven't Little Britained it up.
And they do try. I mean, there's a line where he was like, I went to Oxford, and that's why I sound English. And I'm not a very good Sheikh, I'm a poet or some shit later on. But I was like, it doesn't explain why you look English, though, like... If I studied abroad...
It's England. When you don't see the sun, it can change your ethnicity. He's another character who seems like a Lemmy sketch just doing a voice.
Yeah.
Like, his Sheikh voice is dreadful. And he also drops it when he reoccurs.
He is awful.
He's genuinely terrible, yeah. Like, I want to say one of the worst performances we've seen in any Razzie winner.
100%.
But nevertheless, Bo gifts him her virginity. She's like, I would like to present a gift to you, Mr. Sheikh, my virginity. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Aruga, let's go. And we get another, like, sort of silent movie intertitle card with, soon you will be as naked as the moon on a cloudless night. I was like, this motherfucker's meant to be a poet.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
but he's meant to be, but John Derek's not a poet. This is the problem, you know.
no, I think that was like that was what he was meant to have said to
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
you're
yeah.
saying,
But
yeah,
like,
that Derek can't write
he
poetry.
can't write
Okay, yeah,
poetry?
yeah.
Yeah. I have some notes here because like a lot of my notes are in Morocco.
Yeah.
Because then I kind of die inside afterwards.
Yeah, same. We're halfway through my notes.
One point I liked is when George Kennedy's sitting with Spanish friend, right?
Yeah.
And someone come that I think, you know, they're pretending to be husband and wife, you know, so she doesn't get abducted or something.
Yeah.
And some guy comes up and asks her to dance or go
Uh-huh.
with him. And his line is, "You know how much I like to see my wife have a good time." And she goes away. And I was like, John, you wrote that. You know exactly. I am correct.
That's the tagline for Bolero.
And I also, yeah, exactly. And also, when he's delivering all his line, when he's seducing Bo, the sheik, sorry, he's puffing away on his opium.
Yeah.
He says he needs one more puff of the dragon's tail, which made me laugh.
Yeah.
So I was like, he needs to be drugged out his tits if he's going to, you know, get it up or do anything with Bo. That made me laugh. Him can't, you know, undressing her, but I can't do anything until I get the milk and honey out.
Well,
all these rituals.
Do you know Rupi Kaur, if that's her name?
No.
So I worked in a Canadian bookstore, and she's like a terrible Instagram poet who's been going viral recently for like her weird kind of like, you were searching for the milk and honey that would not come for you. She's a terrible poet, and I think one of her books is called Milk and Honey. So when we were getting terrible poetry, that's immediately what I thought of. But he says, like, so he undresses Bo, and then he's like, "Where's the milk and honey?"
Yeah.
And I thought he was speaking euphemistically, but no, there's like a platter next to him.
Literally.
And so he spills honey over her, not milk, but like, this is disgusting. Like, one of the worst things I've ever seen in a movie. Like, it made me sick to the pit of my stomach. Because he just slathers her in honey, and already I'm like, if you're gonna have sex with food, maybe not something that sticky. And then, like, he proceeds to lick the honey off her, but like slathering his face in the honey where it's like dripping off his nose, and it honestly looks like the scene from Alien with like the alien drip.
It does.
It's
as well as because like so Bo's learned belly dancing. She's been found the art of belly dancing and found it to be the most erotic thing in the world. So when he drops the honey on her, she's like thrusting her.
These are the muscles that make men want to fuck you.
She's like thrusting her belly into his face while it's covered in honey, and that's why it gets it. Anyway, it's fucking hilarious. It's disgusting.
Between this and Gigli, I think I'm celibate. Like, I think I'm going to go off and live in a monastery now. I think I no longer have the desire to have sex because of these two films. Like, it cannot be put into words how disgusting it looks to just watch a man's face dripping with honey. And then, I don't really have any notes for the rest of that sex scene. He falls asleep, doesn't he?
He falls asleep, passes out, which made me kind of smile. Again, all my Morocco stuff's making me smile because it's really crazy and weird as well. So I was like, okay, if we carry on this way, if everyone just starts doing opium and covering themselves in honey, I could be up for this.
You know, Bo, you're a virgin. You don't understand how sex works. With sex, the man eats a lot of honey, then he gets very sleepy and he falls asleep. And the woman, maybe she has honey on a toast afterwards.
So she falls asleep. She talks to her Spanish friend, tells her the story, and they're like, we need to go somewhere else.
Yeah, so I have the dialogue here.
Good.
So they're deciding on their like backpacking, globe-trotting adventure. Where are they gonna go? Moroccan men disappointing opium addicts that cover you in honey and then leave you to clean up on your own. So the friend suggests Holland, and Bo is outraged because she says, Holland? It has to be warm and sultry and dark-eyed when you give your virginity away, like Italy or Spain. Which just made me feel so sorry for... I was thinking of people in Scandinavia, but also in the UK. Like, what are we going to do if you just can't lose your virginity in countries which aren't, like, Mediterranean? We're all just incels being like, okay, I guess we need to travel to Greece or Portugal.
I have two notes for this. I thought that's funny because Bo Derek lost hers probably to John Derek, who's none of those things. Um, and B, it's when she knows she needs to go to Italy or Spain. And I wrote it
Yeah.
here because it made me laugh. Her Spanish friend says, "But I am a Spanish." And I just thought, what the fuck? But that's okay because I assume the actress is actually Spanish or Mexican or something. So I was fine, but that's not the way he wrote it. It just made me laugh. And she was like, "We can't go to Barcelona because that's where I'm from or something."
Yeah.
But was like, "Wait, we won't go to Barcelona. We'll go to the fucking wherever, Zaragoza." And off we go. Yeah, so like that's like the first. I see. When we come later and talk about the fixes, I want to get out thing out the way. The Morocco stuff is the most fun I had probably in the film. Like
Yeah.
it's what I would cut because it's called Bolero. It should be in Spain. Why the fuck were we wasting half an hour in Morocco with racist sheiks and honey and opium? We should have just cut all this at the very start when she's leaving college. It should have been, "Come to my country, come to see Spain. You know, you meet the best men." Then off we go to Spain. And Cotton's, "Oh, I'll accompany you because Spain's in Europe and it's the other side of the world and I'm a paedophile." And off we go. And okay, so it's the most fun because it's probably the weirdest part where it isn't just a shitty rom-com erotic thing, but yeah, that's I'm getting out of the way now. When you're asking me later, cut this shit out, but it was the most fun, so it's a strange contradiction.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not cohesive, so that's the easiest thing to just pluck out.
Pluck out.
So my next note, Paloma 13. So this is where they acquire their sidekick, their Robin, on their erotic crusade. They pick up a Robin who is Paloma, and they kind of have some dialogue. Like, I was checked out by this time. Like, I wasn't really fully paying attention to the movie, and so I don't know at what point they introduced Paloma's age, but at some point they're saying goodbye, and Bo's like, "Well, I hope you have a great 14th birthday," or something. I was like, "Wait, hang on, did I just hear that?" Because, like, I don't know, like, I maybe this isn't like Your Honor, she was in the club. I just assumed the actor was of age. I was like, okay, she's playing someone, she's clearly playing someone younger, but I was like, okay, whatever. And then when they say she's 13, I was like, oh, this character's 13. Ooh. But I, again, assumed, I was like, oh, the actor must just be one of those people who, like, one of those actors who looks a lot younger than they are. And then, yeah, discovered afterwards that she was actually 13. I was like, oh, Jesus.
She is suspiciously young, though.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like Catalina, that's her name. I think that's her name. That's the friend, right? She looks believably 20, 22. She could be younger, she could be older. I don't know, right? Bo looks 30.
Yeah.
But
do we want to check how old? Sorry, I'll let you continue to speak, and I'll tell you how old Bo is when
tell
she
me
shot
how
this.
I'm going with 30 because she looks 30. She looks our age.
Yeah.
And I'm not playing a high schooler anymore, you know. But anyway, yeah, the actress. So she for future reference appears in a great episode of Star Trek later in Next Generation called True Q, good episode. But she was very, very fucking young here. The fact they drew attention to it is, if they didn't draw attention to it, you know, yeah, whatever, you might have just watched magic movies, whatever. But John wrote this, and now this is where I'm getting very, very, like I said, everything, there's too many points at this point. I've already looked it up, and this is where I paused it, like I said, because I just got creeped out. I was like, this is why would you do this?
It's like I saw the Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast with my brother this past week, and it's almost like I could almost see that being a Dennis thing of like, no, she needs to be 13. She needs to be textually 13. Why, John? It would be a lot easier if no, my fantasy, she's 13. We have to say she's 13 at least 13 times in this film. It's pivotal that she's 13.
It's also because literally there's no need for this side. She already has this sidekick, you know. She's got her Spanish sidekick.
Exactly, I know.
Why did you have to get
Paloma is just like, we're catering for every person's fetish. Some people are cuckolds, some people are pedophiles, and we want everyone to have a good time with Bolero. Across the spectrum. Whether honestly, you are a cuckold or a pedophile, this movie is for you. And okay, so Bo Derek was 28 at the time of release for Bolero, and so yeah, she was probably like 26 at the youngest while it was being
If you're being generous, this was filmed. I don't. If you're being very fucking generous,
we're not having a lengthy post production on Bolero here.
No. Yeah, no, and she doesn't even if that's her actual age, 28. She looks 30 as well. You know, she looks. I'm not saying old. I'm not saying old. I'm not being mean.
As much as I've been slandering John Derek for being a paedophile, like it's different to have a story about someone graduating and experiencing the world and losing their virginity. They kind of need to be like naive and wide-eyed, whereas Bo Derek is closer to like Steve Carell, 40-year-old virgin of like, like if you're a porn director.
Oh, sorry, continue. Yeah.
Okay, just let me put my foot in my mouth here. John Ronson, I think did an audiobook series on porn, and he spoke about this really interesting phenomenon about like the middle years for porn stars, where he's like what 18 to like 23, you're like barely legal, and then like 23 to 26, you have to go away and just, you know, go backpacking for a year. And then when you come back at 26, you're like, she's a MILF now. But he's like, there's just no middle ground for porn stars. You're either like on an extreme end of the spectrum. And that's kind of the thing with Bo Derek is you're like, she looks too old to be playing the character. Not that I'm a misogynist.
No.
Their age, but
it's because you told me I was going to dread this film, and you brought up a worse lonely lady. So that stuck in my head. And as much grief as I gave Pia Zadora, she did play that doe-eyed.
Pia Zadora works, naivete, she has that kind of...
like, and you know, innocence almost to the world. Pia Zadora would have been way better in this than Bo Derek would have been.
Well, speaking about like Kelly MacDonald, she's maybe like a good reference point with the notorious scene in Trainspotting. Because Kelly MacDonald walks that line where like Ewan McGregor goes home with her, and you're like, okay, this person's of age, and then she reveals she's like 16 or whatever. And you can instantly see it, where she can like flit between like, oh, she seems, but then in the cold light of day, you're like, oh no, this is a child. Whereas Bo, again, not that we're saying she has to be a child, but she just seems too sort of grown up for what the character. Welcome to Pedophilia Talk, where we are. I don't know. I hate that the film's making me delve into this. I'm feeling so sticky and disgusting, like I'm slathered in honey, and a shake's gonna be licking me off.
But this is what the film. This is the most.
This is the film.
Yeah, this is the film. There's no way to get around it. This is what it is for the next fucking hour and a half as well. There's no way around it. And if you don't want to talk about it, then why would you write it? And why would you make it? And why would you who, you know, I was going to say who agreed to produce it, but fucking Bo did. So, you know, that's the problem there. But like, it's so strange. It's so fucking weird. But let's just move fucking swiftly on, right? We go to Spain.
Well, my next note's opium, and I think I'm intoxicated by your horse.
I have notes. I don't write. So here's where my notes go off a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
I write. So there's a matador. That's the horse. This is what she's talking about, right? She meets Matador.
So she encounters this new Matador, yeah.
So I'm probably gonna condense a heap of shit here because again, all over the place, despite just watching it. So his name is Angel. Yeah. I'm sure it's Angel.
Yeah. Angel de Maria.
Yes, exactly. The famous Matador. So yeah, what you were talking about was loving the horse was the Matador's horse. Angel de Maria. Famous Matador. He is so Bo instantly falls for him and his charms. And this is kind of like literally the next hour of the film is going to be them having their little romance and her giving herself and her purity away to him. I'm sure there's a line as well about, you know, I'll give you the greatest gift or something, or I will take this blood dinner or something.
Someone fell asleep last time.
It's some bullshit. And this is where my concentration really fucking struggled. I have like 3-4 notes left for the film.
Well, do not worry, my friend, because I can take up the burden here. If you're falling asleep, I don't want to continue this analogy. So Bo gets like a German First World War hat. Can you recall? I know I've said I can carry it, but I'm
Yeah,
immediately handing it back over to
don't
you.
throw it right
Do
on
you
me.
know where that hat comes from?
No, not at all.
Like Angel just has like that the pointy German what's it called?
Oh,
It's like, does it have Kaiser in it, or is it like
I do know this.
yeah.
It's good. Hold on. As soon as I read it, I'm gonna go. That's what it is. So this film
Yeah.
broke my brain. It's a pickle helm, or a pickle helm.
Okay, that wasn't what I was thinking of at all.
Basically,
But
a
yeah,
pickaxe.
yeah, so she has one of those, and Bo like wraps herself up in a sheet, maybe like as a precursor to Ghost Can't Do It, coming to cinemas 1989 or wherever it would be. But she's wrapped up in the sheet with the German World War One hat on top, and Angel comes and he's speaking to her, but she can't see because she's wrapped up in the sheet. And she eventually unwraps herself, and she's like, "Oh, you're naked," and he's like, only because it's the most practical way to make a love. um, which,
yeah, I remember that now. Continue.
And then he's like, where would you like to do it, Bo? And then she's like, the bed. The bed would be nice. And so, like she fucks. Like, this is it. Like, she has sex with Angel. Which was interesting for me because yeah, exactly. I was expecting that to be like over the credits. I was like, that's gonna be like that's the like the journey of the film. Once she has sex, we're no longer interested in her. And I also expected it to be she's gonna meet like all these boys are going to fail to satisfy her, and then she's going to go off to Hollywood and she's going to meet a man twice her age who's going to be like, you know what, this story of you traveling the world and getting honey licked off you, that's pretty interesting. That could be a picture. I'm going to make you a star, Bo. But no, so she has sex with Angel, and the sex scene, so this is where I'm assuming Elmer takes over, but I didn't really like. I was just dissociating during the sex scene, so I was like, at first I was like, give Elmer needs to return that money because being brought into the ringer just for the sex scenes, I was like, this is not a good score. And then I closed my eyes for like half a second. I was like, maybe it is a good score. Like I wouldn't mind listening to the music in isolation, but it doesn't work with the images. And then we get like
I was gonna say I didn't know because I didn't know there was two.
Yeah.
So I don't, and usually I'm like a fucking hawk on the score, but most of it's so generic. You've got your stereotypical Moroccan themes and then Spaniard, flamenco, and stuff. Like it is very generic. It's very almost stock levels. And then when you just get into those kind of flourishing sex scene music, I just didn't notice. I really didn't even pay attention. That's an insult as well because there's nothing that stood out to me. Like give me something to pick up on. It felt very cheap, which it makes me surprised that it was Elmer as well because he probably wasn't super cheap even just for those few incidental pieces. But yeah, like nothing to comment. I mean, there's nothing erotic either. There's nothing happening. It is I just John, keep both hands where I can see them while you're filming this. That's like all I've got to say.
Well, John's hands were clearly busy because I was almost like, is there a wind machine in this sex scene?
Yeah.
Because it looks like her hair is blowing.
There 100% was. And
yeah.
There's a scene later where there is a wind machine.
Yeah.
That made me go, they have the budget for a wind machine and they've used it. They're fucking every scene we should just have hair blowing, like everything. There's a gust of wind no matter where we are.
If we're gonna pour honey out in front of the machine and just Oh, God. Okay, next scene is with Bo's friend and Limmy, the Scottish guy, and she's like, "Do you like virgins?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "What? I didn't ken if you're speaking about women."
It's literally the first thing as well. She's like, "Who are you? You're handsome." And he's like, "Oh, wee lassie, I'm Bo's solicitor." And she's like, "Oh, do you like virgins?" Like nothing else in between.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, John as well, because he's getting all the blame for all this shit. And it was a good, she's like, "What's under the skirt?"
Yeah, she's like, "What do you have under the skirt?"
I like how she's an Italian.
Yeah, people ask that, and it's just like it's so. I don't know. I'm just so tired. It's so hard being a man, just being objectified by women constantly. Like I don't know. Women can't really understand the burden that men have to have to carry, just
Mhm.
going through life followed by this predatory gaze and just like slavering women just looking at you like you're a chunk of meat. But like I've been asked that, they're like, what do you have under there? What do you fucking think? Like, have you studied like biology at school? I'm a Ken doll. Nothing. I'm completely smooth. My favorite was like, I was wearing a kilt at some award ceremony, and some American, this was a guy, but he was like, he looked at the sporran and he was like, is your junk in there? And I lifted it up. I was like, no, this is separate. Like, this isn't a
Mhm.
hole. Like, it's not like, no. And he was like,
No.
oh, the kilt just looks like pretty
So.
flat. So, like, I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't know, that could be a good magic trick. But anyway, yeah, like, I don't know, it's just so crude and direct, and like there's a more sophisticated way to ask it than just like, what do you have under there? Like, oh, like I've got like, I don't know, an issue of like Amazing Fantasy number 27 featuring the first appearance of Spider-Man. Like, it's just like, do the true Scotsman thing. If you're
Mhm.
gonna do anything, just don't be like, do you have a penis under there? Like, it's, I don't know.
Well,
But thankfully he puts her in her place because he's like, it's not a skirt, woman. It's, and I'll kill you
yeah, he,
if
he
you.
looked ready to backhand her. That was my
Yeah.
thought on it. He is
I thought that
raging.
it gets dangerously cornery.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
which was funny, but that's good as well because once these two meet, I was again mentally, I was like, cool, they'll get together. That'll wrap up their
yeah,
subplot. We move the fuck
exactly.
on.
Roll on the wedding. We are done. Let's get out of here.
There's a plane waiting for me. It's just a big little fucking tiny plane on a beach ready to take me away.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's where we go next because it's the return of the Sheik. He
So
comes back.
my favorite whole of the whole film is this little scene because yeah, the sheik comes on his little fucking dinky putt plane, his little
It's little Nelly.
a little Nelly. And I love that. So these are pretty much all my notes until the Matador gets gored. Spoilers.
I think that might have already happened.
Okay, right. Well, the
I
Matador.
think we might have, because I think
All
the
right, right.
Matador
We'll go
gets.
back.
Sorry,
Go
anyway.
back. The Matador gets gored, and my note here is so it's the three of them. It's Pia, it's Bo, Catalina, and 14-year-old. And they're all watching
Paloma.
it.
13,
13.
Kyle.
Sorry.
14-year-olds don't do anything for John. They're too old. They're.
And
Uh,
I laughed out here because when the Matador gets scored and it cuts to their reaction, it's
yeah.
Catalina with a great, like, proper blood curdling scream,
Yeah.
Paloma with a really good, like, high pitched scream, and then it cuts to Bo's, huh? Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
mildly amused reaction. And I was like, okay, so I'm giving credit to the other two because
Yeah.
despite the material, despite their language barriers and stuff as well, they can emote at the very least.
So I rewatched this scene because that's where my backdrop is. So listeners, at some point we need to just upload all of our backdrops. You might be able to see it in our social content. It's probably covered by my head. But for my backdrop, I tried to take the moment when Achel gets scored, and so I watched it almost frame by frame. Like I did like a like moment by moment breakdown of that scene, because I was curious just how it shot, and he also gets gored. So
Yeah,
like the bull is about to make contact with the horse, and then it cuts just before the bull
yeah,
is about to make contact, and then we get like a three shot of them all sitting in the audience, like Bo in the middle, and Bo misses it. Bo's
yeah,
like looking the
yeah.
wrong way. So the other two are kind of like, they see it and they have some really good
Really good.
acting,
Yep.
and then we crash zoom into Bo, and then we get like Bo's reaction in a close up there. And so I'm perhaps going to give Bo too much
You are.
credit,
You
whereas
already
like
are.
the crash zoom, I'm like, I don't know if she's meant to be projecting like the confusion or the nothingness of not knowing
Yeah, but
what's going on.
but like if your two friends were screaming like blood curdled screams beside you and you're sandwiched between them, you're gonna do
Yeah,
more than
you
just
wouldn't be as calm as
yeah, you
she's
wouldn't
like,
just
yeah.
casually look around and go, oh, huh? What's going on? So I
Um,
was I sort of jumped a little bit. I have thoughts on the Matador as well
yeah,
because he's obviously properly Spanish or
yeah,
non-native English, so I had a bit of
yeah,
leeway, but he
yeah,
delivers a few lines. literally like Tommy Wiseau with that weird stilted, but I have a plans I cannot cancel and all this. It's so stilted and weird. And there's a weird thing as well. It's when she asks him to buy all the wine. I think he has wine, and there's a mistake in it that's obviously been left in the film. And he says, "Oh, it's the paper on the wine," and because he forgets his line for a second, and he just stumbles for the word because again he's not a native English speaker. And I'm thinking here, John Derek only does one take only. We fucking move swiftly on.
We've got to stretch that $7 million budget.
We have to, we're on location. We're fucking just do it and get out of the way.
Yeah.
So he is terrible. His dialogue is delivered terribly, but as a non-native, assuming speaker, and being directed by John, with lines written by John, I'm giving him a lot of fucking leeway because I wouldn't be able to do that if there was a Spanish John Derek out there. Juan Derek directed me. I would be just as bad. So anyway, that's that covered. He's gored and now he's impotent. He can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the funny thing because the bull gores his horse. And then next thing you see, he's just bleeding out from the abdomen.
And he's like, "Is my horse okay?" You know, he's Italian again, but he doesn't care about anything else. And he's just like, "My horse okay?" And I was like, "Your horse is done, mate." But anyway, swiftly moving on. That's that covered. Now I get to the good stuff.
We might have got the sequence wrong, but I seem to recall it's when he's impotent that the Sheikh is then like
swoops in on his plane.
He just scoops Bo up with little Nelly and like takes her away. And he's like, "I have come for your virginity. I'm awake now."
Slow down. Slow down. Let me get here. Because when we were in Morocco, I got some Temple of Doom vibes. You know, just with the sets. And
for sure. Sheets. I was waiting for him to eat some monkey brains.
So when the Sheik comes down to abduct,
he pours monkey brains on her naked torso and licks it off her.
When the Sheik comes to abduct Bo, it's great because George Kennedy is just sparking out. He's like Entourage, like uppercutting them and stuff. And I was like, I'm getting more Indiana Jones. And the plane as well. I was like, okay, things are happening. Kyle's getting excited.
There's, of course, that thing where people say Indiana Jones is a pedophile because he says to Marion, like, when we last met 10 years ago and you were 13, you didn't have this much of an attitude. So John Derek's maybe like,
original screenplay adapted from John Derek, So it's great. The Sheik puts her in the plane, this little two-seater little Nelly. George Kennedy comes sprinting over and grabs the plane. And my little brain's firing off here because in my head, there's only two outcomes, okay? Because she goes, caught in, you've come to get me. And I was like, great. He's grabbing the tail of the plane. The two outcomes are either it goes off, takes off with George Kennedy hanging on the plane, which is exciting, or he's going to literally like fucking suplex the plane. He's going to swing it around like a fucking Highland Games or something. Neither happen. He just lets go because he too is impotent and has nothing to do. Yeah, ineffective, can't do anything. They take off and the Sheik's like, "I've come for your virginity." And she's like, "Too late, gone. Matador took it." And he's like, "Doesn't matter, I still want you." And there's a weird line as well where he's like, "We live in a chauvinistic world and I'm only doing my duty. A man has needs." And she just brushes it off and she's like, "I have needs too, but you know what? I'm in love." And I was like, this is a 72-year-old. I keep upping his age, but this is a 72-year-old man writing this. This is hilarious. This 5-minute frame, I don't even know if it's 5 minutes, it's probably shorter than that, is the most fun I had in the movie. I got George Kennedy uppercutting. And there's a bit as well when the plane takes off, it wobbles, and my heart sunk because I was like, "Oh no, it's going down like for real. Like this is a shitty little putt, Tweety Puff Jr. or whatever the Futurama one is. It's gonna crash." And so like I genuinely got like, oh no, like it's a real plane, real shot. Like, Tom Cruise wouldn't do this stunt, but like. This is, and it has no sort. I mean, again, you cut out the Moroccan stuff. This stuff shouldn't be in it technically. This is just to add a bit of drama, I guess, or some stupidness. But it is fun for me, and I'm having fun as soon as it was. I can't even remember. The sheep just lets her go. I can't even remember how it ends.
Yeah, like he's like, well, I can't get in the way of true love or
Yeah,
whatever. Like
and
it's
and that's his
very
accent
easily
as well.
resolved.
Like how you delivered it is how he delivers it too. He's totally forgotten. This is also when they're talking back and forward as well. Both hairs hitting, going in like weird directions. I was like, that's a wind machine.
Yeah.
Like I was like, you've not strapped a fucking camera to the wing of the plane here. And that's when it started sparking, and later on they used the wind machine as well. He made the fucking most of that wind machine. That was a big
Yeah.
part of the budget. And that's it. Like this is all my notes are
Well,
got.
it's probably rental versus purchase, where you're like, John, it's like to go back to the room. It's like, John, on Hollywood productions, you tend to rent most of the equipment as opposed to buy it. He's like, no, that's not good value. I'm going to buy this wind machine. We'll find other scenes to use it in.
And that's it. Like she goes, this is it. Like I can wrap up the film. She makes a love
Yeah.
potion. Is that before or after? She smokes
Um,
opium again.
Fuck knows. I thought it was like she learns to become a matador,
She does.
and that
Because
fixes his
yeah,
impotence.
that's it. That's it. There you go. There's the
Yeah.
film. They get married. The end.
So it was only like I didn't raise any eyebrows initially, but it was only when Bo was like learning to become a matador to fix his impotence that I was like, is John Derek working through some shit by having Bo's husband be impotent? Like, is he dealing with something? Which this is also a part of The Lonely Lady. Remember she gets with the screenwriter at the start
Mm-hmm.
and he's impotent?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why is it that these movies produced, directed by rich old men with their younger wives fucking a bunch of other men, why is there always like an impotent character in all of these in all of these movies?
You write what you know, Jericho. You write what you know.
So we basically end on the sex scene.
Yeah, they like, go to heaven.
And for a film,
the wind machine kicks
yeah.
in and they die. That's how I perceived it.
Yeah, they ascend.
Yeah.
Like this, it's the most like 80s thing imaginable. Of they have sex and it's kind of like, yeah, wind machine, fog, smoke, whatever. There's a neon sign in the background saying ecstasy, and like I was like, why are they in like an influencer bar, or like why are they having sex in front of like a live laugh love sign? Like it's just like, I don't know. And this sex scene goes on way too long. IMDb trivia says that there were suggestions it was unsimulated. But like there's lots of tongue sucking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, no one wants to see this. Like, John, come on.
There were like, I didn't know that there was suggestions, but
I mean, someone could have just added it.
It did kind of cross my mind, especially when it kept going on and on and on and on and on. I was like, oh, like this is weird. This is really uncomfortable to watch. Again,
well, this film was shot sequentially, and they had a bunch of film left over, which John Derek had paid for, and he was like, okay, how about you two just go at it, and we'll go until the film runs out.
I think it's the opposite.
Maybe this will make the final cut. Maybe this will be just like a home movie.
I think it's the first thing he shot, and then he just filmed B-roll around it to make a movie out of it.
If this was the first thing he shot, there wouldn't be a movie. He would be like, well, great, we've got all we need to do, got all we came here to see. Fantastic. Your check's in the mail. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, so that's
Bolero.
That's Bolero. Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, which not a fun time.
It's not. It's probably actually more fun talking about it than watching it. It was deeply uncomfortable, and I mean the only thing as well, like it's fucking boring. Like she puts the bow in boring. Like fucking hell, it drags. This was a real trouble to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dog agrees. Dreadful. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I know it seems like we've been saying it a lot lately, but this is one of the worst films we've had to watch for this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I don't know where it ranks on the bottom tier. I think I still hated Transformers more. I think that's still the most miserable time I've had watching a movie.
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
because there was, at least it was a movie. At least it looked like a movie for most of the time. I mean, I can rip it apart. I would never watch it. I would never recommend it. It's one of the worst. It's we're talking what's worse. But it's definitely the bottom 5.
Yeah, it's the would you rather get kicked in the crotch or poked in the eye kind of
Exactly.
thing.
The lonely lady rises with every fucking movie we watch of the ranking. I really like, yeah, Pia Zadora, Team Pia over Team Bo already.
So yeah, we've established this is very much Razzie worthy. So let's cover the other awards which this film garnered.
Cool.
So worst director, John Derek, entirely
Yeah.
deserved. A film directed by a paedophile, which was just reprehensible.
Gotta call a spade, yep.
Yeah. And worst actress, Bo Derek.
Yep.
And here we have her name, Air Mac McGilvery. Okay, I'm gonna come out to bat for Bo here. I was expecting her to be a lot worse than she was. She wasn't as bad as I was prepared for. I don't think she's as bad as Madonna. I think she's a better actor than Madonna.
Again, it's the
Razzie Queens.
Yeah, like Pia rises again every time. But yeah, it's Madonna. Maybe wasn't, if Madonna was in this, we'd maybe need a test, because at least Madonna had a co-lead in Swept Away, and like a male lead, whereas Bo was in this a lot. Like Catalina's barely in it, her sidekicks and stuff come and go. The Matador is barely in, like it's a Bo Derek, it's a Bo Derek film.
Yeah.
But again, it's the kick in the crotch, poke in the eye. I'm saying it's deserved.
Yeah. Worst supporting actor, George Kennedy as Cotton.
Is that a win?
No, that's just a nomination.
Okay.
I don't think that's deserved, particularly when The Sheikh is not even fucking nominated.
Yep, 100%. I like George Kennedy. He had my favorite scene.
Yeah.
He doesn't do much either in it, to be fair. He is actually an actor as well, like you can tell clearly that I think he is someone that has worked before, and I disagree with this one.
He's the Orson Welles in Butterfly. Like, I think he's just been nominated because he's a bigger name than the no-name. Mr. Razzie either likes if you're an established Academy Award nominee or you are like a 7-year-old child. He doesn't have much in between for like, Worst supporting actress, Olivia D'Abo for Bolero as Paloma. So once again, he's back at it, nominating a 13-year-old.
And that's a supporting actress, yeah? Nominated?
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly thought she was really fine. She's honest. She's better than Bo. Yeah, I wouldn't have put her in the top. Wouldn't even thought about her and Catalina. Wouldn't even thought about it.
They're not great, but like it's like not a great part. She's like a 13-year-old working with a pedophile, so like kind of inclined to give her a little bit of leeway with her performance. I said it before when we were watching it. It's not a great character.
We got delivered lines like that. Probably not your native tongue, or if it is, I don't know. And probably Paloma's probably is her native tongue, but again, she's 13. Child actor working under John Derek, reading John Derek's lines, working with Bo Derek. There's so many excuses.
A lot of extenuating circumstances.
Yeah. Her and Catalina, big nose. They shouldn't be near.
Yeah. Worst new star. So we have Andrea Occhipinti as Angel.
So Italian, I assume. He wasn't Spanish, which would explain the accent. Yeah, he's dreadful. But again, nativeness. I mean, it's John I'm blaming here more because, like I said, when he flubs a line and they just leave it in, that's on the filmmaker more than the actor.
The director throwing you under the bus.
But he isn't good.
Well, he didn't win Worst New Star because that went to Olivia D'Abo for Bolero.
Oh shit.
Which, again, a 13-year-old. No. Undeserved. And then moving on, we have Worst Screenplay. It won Worst Screenplay for John Derek.
100%.
Which, it's dreadful.
Yeah.
Real bad screenplay. That's the worst.
It could be the worst screenplay we've seen on the Razzies. It might not be the worst film in my opinion, but it's definitely the worst screenplay.
Yeah.
And it's worse than Swept Away in terms of screenplay and dialogue. Yeah. 100%.
And then the final award, Worst Musical Score, Bolero, music by Peter Bernstein, love scene scored by Elmer Bernstein.
Again, I'm not going to disagree. It's very forgettable. It's very generic. It isn't offensively bad, because it is just blends into the background. But that's clutching there if I'm trying to find something nice. I'm sure there's worse, but it deserves it, I guess.
And we've kind of touched upon it, but the smallest change you could make to make the biggest impact on this film.
Yeah, like I said,
losing Morocco.
Lose Morocco, it cuts half an hour out of the film, and it would probably make it a bit more streamlined to watch. That's the easiest. That's an editing post-production
Yeah.
thing to do to
Yeah.
fix it. Other than that,
You're going to come in, the Szymanski cut,
yeah,
we're just going to lose,
cut it in
lose
half.
40 minutes out of this film. Yeah.
Because it's called fucking Bolero. It doesn't need to be in Morocco. It doesn't need to have any of this weird shit, despite it being the best part of the film.
Well, you mentioning the film's title, I do have a fun little piece of trivia for you from the IMDb page. There's a chain of bowling alleys named Bolero, presumably after this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, the legacy of Bolero lives on. My change, I've said it, I would just have a John Derek surrogate, preferably played by John Derek himself. Like, just hanging out. Like, I don't know, you don't get to be like a faceless paedophile lurking behind the scenes. I want like his Humbert character just hanging out on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe have him traffic, what's her name, Paloma.
Yeah,
Maybe have him traffic Paloma across a border.
You're literally saying make a different film.
No, it's a side character. He's a side character.
Okay.
Just like everyone has a happy ending, and Paloma's happy ending is getting taken across a border to a country with more lax consent laws so she can marry a 70-year-old director actor. But that really concludes all we have to say on the topic of Bolero, so stick with us, and we will be back in the second half discussing the other winners and nominees for the year of 1984.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the second half of the podcast. We're going to be presenting all of the other winners and nominees from 1984. So, worst picture, we had Where the Boys Are, 84.
I've not seen that bit. Is that not what we were talking about? And
yeah, exactly. That's what he claims the real Cancun is. No, or Justin DeKelly. He claims Justin DeKelly is a remake of Where the Boys Are, 84. So that kind of funny. I don't know, funny insight into the movies running around Mr. Razzie's head. Then we have Sheena. Have you seen Sheena?
I've not seen. I've not heard of Sheena. What's Sheena?
Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. It's a superhero film based on a comic book character that first appeared in the late 30s. It seems like a female Tarzan, basically, starring Tanya Roberts.
Okay.
And then we have Rhinestone.
Yes, which I've talked about. No, I haven't seen it. It's a Stallone in part, and maybe one day I'll check out. But just because I like Stallone doesn't mean I want to watch Rhinestone.
Well, you have to watch it for our.
It is, I know.
Special,
I will. That's what I said.
Yeah,
okay,
I
will
okay.
have to.
I'm just forgetting.
I will get to it, but I have no interest in watching it until then.
Yeah. And then we have Cannonball Run 2.
Which I seen when I was a child.
Oh, thank God. I was worried we were going to be a complete wash.
So, like, my one of my grandfathers loved, like the trucker films, those, like, rat race, essentially.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's Cannonball Part 1 or Part 2, but so I might mix them up a little bit in my head. You might have to have a look for me. But one of them has the Rat Pack, like Dean Martin and Sinatra and all that. And I remember...
That's 2.
That's 2. There we go. I remember it also has Jackie Chan in it. That would be the one with the Rat Pack. So it's like Sinatra and Jackie. I don't think they share scenes. It's also one of those, like, it's a mad world. Like, it's just cameos and for fuckers like us, it's like, oh, there's there's X, Y, Z, like, and you're just getting the
There's Bo and John Derek absconding across state lines.
That's cheap pops. I liked them as a kid. I mean, it's probably tinged with nostalgia watching them with my grandfather.
Yeah.
But I remember he liked the one with the Rat Pack in it, so I would rather watch it than Bolero.
Okay, well, that brings us on to Worst Director, Hal Needham, Cannonball Run 2.
Famous Hal Needham. I'm sure he did them all, didn't he?
I think I've definitely read his name on the podcast before, but I think
can't remember why.
Cannonball Run 1. Smokey and the Bandit.
There we go. Yeah, Smokey and the Bandit. All these trucker chase films and stuff. if there's no plot and it's just driving and it's again, from what I remember, better than John, so fair.
Mm-hmm. Then we have John Gellerman for Sheena. Any awareness of who this is?
I have no idea, never heard of him.
I Was Monty's Double, Tarzan's Greatest Adventure, Never Let Go, Towering Inferno.
Okay.
And he directed the King Kong remake with Jeff Bridges. Dino De Laurentiis.
Yeah, okay. So I've seen that. So I've seen a few then, but I haven't seen it, so still no comment.
Well, Next up, we have Brian De Palma, multiple Razzie Award nominee. Brian De Palma for Body Double.
Body Doubles is what's it
Rear
called?
Window.
Rear Window. That's the one. That's the one of the few. I have not seen this. This is after Scarface, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Immediately, or a couple of maybe another film before. I know I spoke about De Palma as well on when I was speaking about Mission Impossible. I like De Palma. Who doesn't? You know, like
Mr. Razzie, apparently.
Mr. Razzie. But I haven't seen this one, so maybe it's terrible. Maybe. But I don't have a comment. I love De Palma though, and I don't want to see him here.
Well, Scarface was 83, so this was the very next year. So he was clearly cranking them out. I like Body Double. Like, I think it's good, and I think, I don't know, De Palma's gone a bit weird now, but like in the 80s, he was just on top form.
For
Mr. Razzie to have the nerve to nominate him.
Yeah, like you know, you don't. It's my John Carpenter thing as well, isn't it? Like you've got to stop at point. Yeah, you know, we talk about this before. Not every director just is all killer forever. You know, everyone's gonna have a turning point.
It's Tarantino's thing of one stop at 10 because like no one peaks in their 80s.
Because this is the Beatles thing as well. You know, he doesn't want to be you know, duetting with Rupert the Frog or Rupert the Bear or something, you know, the Frog chorus in the 80s. He wants to be hitting them out. Yeah, no. But anyway, still love him, don't want him there.
Well, I am very glad that you're going to be watching Rhinestone and not me, because it is directed by Bob Clark, who you will know better as the director of Porky's, the director of Baby Geniuses, and the director of Black Christmas.
Oh, God. I've seen Porky's, so at least, okay. Well, you know what? Stallone and Martin. It's going to be more fun than Bolero.
And then the winner, John Derek, of course. So, worst actor. Burt Reynolds, Cannonball Run 2, and City Heat as J.J. McClure and Mike Murphy. Have you seen City Heat?
I haven't. It rings a bell.
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood, that's right. I was like, it rings a bell. I haven't seen it. Burt Reynolds isn't good in Cannonball Run 2. Yeah. And he's lazy as fuck. I mean, this is Bert's lazy period. But you know what? I've spoken about my love for Bert. You know, everyone that listens knows my love for Bert. So I just don't want him here out of principle.
Well, I saw something interesting on Twitter the other day, which was, we obviously spoke about Burt Reynolds with striptease, but Burt Reynolds fired his agent after seeing a rough cut of Boogie Nights, which is just amazing. Like I knew that he wasn't like entirely happy with it, but I didn't know that he like hated it that much, which is incredible. So we've got Burt Reynolds firing his agent, and we've got Mark Wahlberg disowning Boogie Nights, when I would say arguably it's like the best thing that either of them have ever been a part of.
Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, you know, sometimes you're not aware of, you know, greatness, you know, especially if you're in it as well, you know.
Like, I just like think Burt being like, I could be making Cannonball Run 17 and instead I'm in Boogie Nights. Agent, you're fired. You're out.
Yeah. But then he had such a good time on striptease, you know, so like.
Then we have Peter O'Toole in Supergirl as Zoltar. I'm assuming you've seen Supergirl.
I've seen Supergirl.
I haven't.
You haven't seen Supergirl?
No.
This was one of those, I mean, we talked about it with the Conan films, you know, when you bought them in the pack with Red Sonja and Kroll the Conqueror, whatever the other one was called. I got Supergirl. It was like Superman 1-4 and Supergirl was included. I think it was actually a second disc. It didn't have its own case. It was just one of those CD underneath the ones. So Supergirl sucks. I can't remember Peter O'Toole sucking dreadfully bad in it.
He can't be the lead, surely.
No, he's not. I mean, what's he called in it?
Zoltar.
Yeah, I mean, there's the villain then, right? I could be wrong.
He's Zod.
I could be. My memory is very, very, very faint on it, because it's like my Red Sonja. I think that's the closest comparison where I've seen it. I've probably seen it at least twice, but I don't remember everything. I remember more Supergirl fucking about, you know, trying to be a human girl and stuff. That's why I remember it. But anyway, you know, it's Peter O'Toole, and unless you really phoned it in, it's weird. He's probably here because he's a name. It's, you know, Supergirl's probably not going to pop up too much other than maybe like worst actress or something. So Mr. Razzie's just being vindictive here because it's a big name.
Well, speaking of big names, Jerry Lewis, slapstick of another kind, as Wilbur Swain, Caleb Swain.
I've not seen this. No, I haven't. I haven't seen Jerry Lewis in the AAs. I've seen classic Jerry Lewis. I don't, you know, is this Dean Martin routine duos? I've seen all that. I've seen these Night Professors and all these classic six days, but that is like 24 years probably before all this. So I don't know what he's up to in the 80s.
Well, it's based on a Kurt Vonnegut story, which is mildly interesting. Okay. But yeah, I haven't seen it, so nothing to say really.
No.
Then we have Lorenzo Lamas for Body Rock as Chile. Have you seen Body Rock?
No, I have not seen Body Rock. Have you seen Body Rock?
No.
No.
It stars Lorenzo Lamas as a young man from the streets with a talent for breakdancing.
Ooh, I mean, we are in the 80s, aren't we? So we're...
Yeah.
Fair.
And then the winner, no prizes for guessing this, Sylvester Stallone for Rhinestone as Nick Martinelli.
Can't say anything that's not already been said a million times. He is a fucker, though. I bet you... Well, I don't know. I can't remember if you said who... Yeah, Bo Derek won. So if Dolly Parton doesn't get nominated, I've got stuff to say about that. Even though I've not seen it, that's him being a little fucker. So, because I've got stuff to say once we get to worst original song that touches on that.
So, moving on to worst actress, Brooke Shields in Sahara as Dale. Have you seen Sahara?
I have not. Have you?
No. This is the Matthew McConaughey Sahara.
It's a swiftly moving on one. I like it.
Yeah. Original score by Ennio Morricone,
okay.
So maybe a little something for you.
Mm-hmm.
Tanya Roberts from Sheena as Sheena. Not seen that, and don't really know anything about Tanya Roberts.
She is the Bond girl in
A View to a Kill.
There you go. She's the one where it's got the John Bow effect, where Roger Moore's like 55 and she's like 20.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
She's not Grace Jones.
No.
Yeah. Then we have Shirley MacLaine in Cannonball Run 2 as Veronica, star of Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Shirley MacLaine.
Yeah. No real comment because I don't. It's one of those. I think there's like 150 odd people in the fucking film. It's hard to remember everyone in it. So no comment.
And then we have Faye Dunaway from Supergirl as Selena, so our mommy dearest.
So is there any more nominations? Does that mean Supergirl herself, despite being the lead actress, isn't nominated for worst actress?
No, Supergirl isn't nominated. I can't remember who played her again. It's Helen Slater.
There you go. Yeah, bullshit then. Absolute fucking bullshit. It's mommy dearest.
Because Peter O'Toole and Faye Dunaway probably aren't the leads
of
Supergirl. Supergirl is probably the lead of Supergirl. And then the award goes to Bo Derek for Bolero, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Worst supporting actor, Ron Liebman in Rhinestone as Freddie Uggo.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Seems to be, he won the Tony for Angels in America in 1993, but I don't recognize him from anything, really. We then have George Kennedy, Bolero as Cotton, covered that. Sammy Davis Jr., Cannonball Run 2 as Morris Fenderbaum. What you said that Cannonball Run 2 is just like an endless procession of cameos, it seems weird to single out Sammy Davis Jr.
But... who, from what I remember, isn't, even the worst of them.
Yeah.
This is like Toupee, old Sinatra times as well, like Sammy Davis is very, very charismatic. I don't think he's a good actor in it. Like, I think he is, he might be drunk, but I would have expected like a massive nomination, the entire ensemble cameos or something. Very strange just to pick out him.
Then we have Robbie Benson for Harry and Son as Howard Keach. Harry and Son, directed by Paul Newman.
Oh,
of course.
Never heard of it. Never heard of him though.
Yeah. And then the winner, where supporting actor, goes to Brooke Shields with a mustache in Sahara as Dale.
Okay, so now it's getting intriguing. Brooke Shields with a mustache and Ennio Morricone. Maybe I have to go watch this film.
So I don't know. Like, is this like our beloved Color of Night, where we have what's the name? What's the guy's name? Richie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how substantial is Brooke Shields with the mustache? Is that like another character, or does she just put on a mustache?
Or is it a worse screen combo?
Yeah. Yeah, so Dale is the same character for which she was nominated as worst actress. So I don't agree with that. I think if she's playing another character, but you can't be like, no.
Stupid.
Mr. Razzie back at it again.
Already in these early days as well,
Worst supporting actress, Diane Lane, The Cotton Club, and Streets of Fire as Vera Cicero and Ellen Aim. Seen any of those?
I've seen Streets of Fire. It's directed by
Walter Hill.
That's the one. Thank you for having your hand over the categories here, because I like Streets of Fire. I don't remember her being particularly bad. She might be really bad in The Cotton Club,
which is Coppola, of course.
Which is one I've not seen. So maybe it's just a fuck it double nomination job here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's strange to have a Coppola and a Walter Hill randomly thrown in here just for this one nomination. So
yeah. Then we have another favourite of yours, Marilu Henner for Cannonball Run 2 as Betty.
Absolutely not out of print. I love Marley. It's Elaine from Taxi. Always talked about my love for her. Yeah, no, again, it's one of these, like, I don't remember her being in the film. I would have because I love her, Henner. But he's just picking names out of a hat, and, you know, he's looking on the fucking poster and just picking names. He's not watched it.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then it's, you know, it's probably a total shit film. I totally get that. I'm not going to defend their performances, but, like, it's you know, like compared to Bolero, I think it's the Bolero standard now. That's what I'm thinking about in this year. You know, surely there's supporting actors in Where the Wild Boys Are 85 or 4 or whatever the fuck it's called.
Well, don't speak too soon.
Okay.
We've then got Olivia d'Abo, Bolero, but it's a joint nom for Conan the Destroyer, where she played Princess Jenna.
Yeah. Fuck. See, Conan the Destroyer hasn't popped up here. This is strange.
Yeah, I'm glad that Arnie dodged the nom.
Because I can see her in. And the thing is, when you said that as well, like I said before, it's been a long time since I've seen the films, but I remember the princess in Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah.
And she does look like 10. Like she's a child actor then.
Yeah, exactly.
So that, you know, makes me concerned. I like Conan the Destroyer. It's not as good as Conan the Barbarian. I think we spoke this before.
Yeah.
But Conan the Barbarian was nominated, I believe, wasn't it? Or Arnie was for that, so...
Oh, yeah, you're right,
So he didn't watch it, he's just doubling down to dunk on a 13-year-old, because he's a fucker, so... Yeah.
Then we have Susan Anton, Cannonball Run 2 as Jill Rivers.
Same as before.
And then the winner is Lynn Holly Johnson, Where the Boys Are 84 as Laurie.
Who is...
And she is
She's a Bond girl as well, isn't she? Her name's Lynn Johnson.
Yeah, Bibi Dahl from the film
Pure Eyes.
Yeah.
Yes. My Bond knowledge is paying off. Yeah, again, not seen the film though. Bibi's not good in For Your Eyes Only though, so.
And she's a retired figure skater, so perhaps not.
It's a small role. It's a small part in For Your Eyes Only as well. So, yeah. Fair enough. Maybe she's bad.
Then we move on to the category of Worst New Star, also known as Child of the Year. Russell Todd, Where the Boys Are 84 as Scott Nash.
No idea who that is.
He is a former film and television actor. Let's see, he was born in 58, which makes him like in his 20s. Okay, that's a valid nom. Yep. Andrea Occhipinti, as we have discussed, who played Ankel. He's old enough, so yeah, fine.
Yep.
Apollonia Cotero in Purple Rain as Apollonia. Have you seen Purple Rain?
Yeah, I have seen Purple Rain. You seen Purple Rain?
No, I have not.
It's a better soundtrack than a film. I think is well known for everything. Mm-hmm. She is a girl band singer.
Yeah.
Basically playing herself. Like I don't think it's deserved, to be honest. I don't think she's gonna go off to be a great actress. She's probably gonna go make some hits. Prince is gonna make her some music, make some money. One of his many projects is no.
We then have Michelle Johnson, Blame It on Rio as Jennifer Lyons.
Never heard of her.
And she was in her 20s also. So Worst New Star, that means Worst New Star goes to Olivia d'Abo, who is the only one who is actually a child.
Jesus, yeah.
Well done, Mr. Razzie.
I know what, and she's good at, she's fine as well. Like, that's the worst part. Like, you know, like, obviously you should never be fucking having kids win these wars and destroy their careers and their self-esteem and all this. But, like, legitimately, she's no reason to be winning things here. Like, it's outrageous.
Yeah, the next category, Worst Screenplay. So, Where the Boys Are 84, Stu Krieger and Jeff Burkhart, suggested by the novel by Glendon Swarthout. Okay, so From Justin to Kelly is a rip-off of Where the Boys Are 84, and Where the Boys Are 84 is suggested by the novel.
Bullshit.
Sheena, a screenplay by David Newman and Lorenzo Semple Jr., story by Newman and Leslie Stevens, based on the comic. Yeah, nothing to say there. Rhinestone, screenplay by Phil Adden Robinson and Sylvester Stallone, story by Robinson. Oh dear.
Screenplay though, like Robinson probably came up with it and did it. Stallone's just refining it, and you know,
refining it.
This is Oscar winner.
He's Aaron Sorkin. He's doing a pass.
This is when Stallone still had, you know, some credentials. He's still riding that Rocky glory.
Yeah. Cannonball Run 2, Hal Needham, Albert S. Ruddy, and Harvey Miller.
Very
And
strange that it's got 3 writers as well, because you imagine this is one of those just fucking film it and we'll make it up as we go.
And then, of course, the winner, Bolero, John Derek. So we're in the 80s, of course, which if you haven't listened to past episodes, this is like a high point for Kyle because we get your 2 favorite categories.
Yeah.
Worst original song. So Sweet Lovin' Friends from Rhinestone, music and lyrics by Dolly Parton.
So I listened to these before.
Yeah.
This is the worst because it is quite a sincere like country rock number between Dolly Parton and Stallone. Sylvester is not Frank. He can't hit the notes. This is a bad song and it's badly done and it's weird. They have no like, it almost feels like they've dubbed at different times despite probably recording it in the same studio. This is a bad song. This was my pick. Would have been for a worse song.
So I am torn on this where I'm like, it's the worst one to listen to for sure.
100%.
But I was like, if you look at it as a song, I was like, I don't know if it's an okay song just held down by the fact that Sylvester Stallone and Dolly Parton performing it.
But that's the point of it. It's worst original song. Like, so maybe it was, maybe, you know, like maybe there's a cover out there. Maybe there's an Adele cover that's.
Because there's a part that I'm like, oh, it kind of sounds like You Make Love and Fun by Fleetwood Mac, sung by Sylvester Stallone. But I just want to read you some of the lyrics. It's the kind of spoken word bit at the end. Hey, woman. Yeah? You want to be my friend? Oh, as long as it can grow. Well, how much growing did you have in mind? I think I better just avoid that. But you sure do look like the healthy outdoor type. Well, that's real interesting, because you surely look like the healthy indoor type. Well, I was kind of wondering if you'd like to snuggle, you know? Sounds real good. It does sound good, don't it? Sounds great.
And Dolly Parton wrote that as well. Stallone didn't do it. He didn't get a redraft.
That's Stallone.
That's
Stallone's like, hey, yo, Adrian, I've been wondering if you'd like to snuggle.
He would have got a co-writing credit. This is all Parton.
And then we have Smooth Talker from Body Rock. Music and lyrics by David Sembello, Michael Sembello, Mark Hudson.
These lyrics are fucking atrocious. It had a nice beat to it. I will say it's got that nice 83, 84 stink to it. But only reason I would have picked Sweet Loving Friends or whatever it's called over this is this made me laugh, probably unintentionally, because it's just innuendo of the song, really.
Yeah.
But it had a stinky 80s beat behind it, synthesizers, and it made me laugh, so it just nudged out the worst original song.
It's a very horny year because we also have Sex Shooter from Purple Rain, music and lyrics by Prince.
Which is exactly what you said. It's horny. The song is Prince as well, though. Like, this is...
Yeah. What's this? This man appears to be singing about sex. Or he's not singing it. Prince writing about sex?
It's a good song. What? It's a good song. It's catchy.
I don't really like Apollonia's voice. No. I was like, I would like to hear Prince sing this because it is a good song.
It's the nothing compares to you thing, isn't it? You don't want to hear Sinead do it. You want to hear Prince do it. You want to hear Prince do his own stuff. Yeah, but it's not. It's got a good beat. It's got the Prince production machine behind it. Yeah. Which is, despite her vocals, it's always going to take it over and not be a worst original song. If it had Prince vocals, it's a hit. So it's one of those, it's a strange one. So
here we now have Fritz Lang's first appearance with the Razzies, because there was a re-release of Metropolis with a new score. Mm-hmm. And so Love Kills from Metropolis, music and lyrics by Freddie Mercury and Giorgio Moroder.
Yeah, I have the soundtrack. Because
really?
I do. It's on CD, not on record, unfortunately. It doesn't really count. I was a big Giorgio mark when I was in my teens. Stuff with, like him and basically anything that was synth heavy was, it was my craft work to, 80s love. So I bought this. I've never watched Metropolis with the soundtrack. So that needs a bit of an asterisk, because I love the soundtrack and I love Metropolis. Yeah. I don't, it's one of those, I like Cheerios and I like ketchup, I don't want them together kind of thing. But Love Kills is a really good song.
Yeah, I like
Really
that a
good.
lot.
I
Yeah.
like Freddie solo stuff.
And like finally we've got rid of Brian May, that curly
It's
haired
my joke.
muppet.
Queen are at their best when Freddie goes solo. Like, and he's. I always like Freddie solo, and this is a really really good song. It's a really good song.
Yeah.
And it's really good little collaboration between them. Might not be appropriate, I will agree that it's not appropriate for Metropolis, but it's still great. So no, this is weird. I'm glad it didn't win though.
Well, what did win was Drinkenstein from Rhinestone, music and lyrics by Dolly Parton.
I fucking loved, right? But like, hear me out, because it needs the context, because you sent me the clip from the film.
Yeah.
And it is
because it's like a minute and a half.
It's a minute and a half, and it's played off like Rawhide from the Blues Brothers. Like it's just a little scene in a bar.
Yeah.
It's genuinely quite catchy. It is the same kind of Rawhide beat to it as well. I was humming it to myself after. I actually liked it so much I played the soundtrack version, because Stallone sounds better in the soundtrack, obviously in a proper.
Oh, sorry, is there a full version?
There's a full version, yeah.
The wrong one. Okay.
And it's better in the full version as well, because I like Stone's singing it in a different studio and stuff, and he's not acting it. He's not acting singing it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, it's a terrible song. It's a terrible song about drinking and turning into a monster. It name drops Budweiser. It's a terrible song, but in the context, that Blues Brothers thing, like I say, in a bar throwaway, he's miserable doing it as well, so it's played off as a joke. It's catchy.
Yeah, like I thought it was meant to be a bad song.
Exactly. And it's ironically really catchy as well, so. Yeah, like no. This is just because.
So you'd go for Sweet Love and Friends. You wouldn't go for Drinkenstein.
But this is what my point was before. He's too much of a coward to give a win to Dolly Parton like properly, because oh no, couldn't do that. Like, have to just give it to Stallone. So yeah, no. Drinkenstein, other than Love Kills, are my two favorites from this year's worst original song.
Do you think Dolly received her Razzie?
We're gonna get her. It's another one though for Stallone. Like, I'm gonna rack up the bill.
No, he doesn't get it. It's music and lyrics by Dolly. He's not, like, it doesn't go to the performer, it goes to the writer.
Okay.
It's Dolly's Razzie.
So it's Dolly. So yeah, okay. So that's it. Dolly's, we'll get it for her. She can come on the podcast.
Moving on to worst musical score, Where the Boys Are 84 by Sylvester Levay.
No.
Rhinestone, original music and lyrics by Dolly Parton, music adapted and conducted by Mike Post. Does someone want to tell Mr. Razzie what a score is? Because if it's original music and lyrics by Dolly Parton...
Yeah, well, worst soundtrack and worst score are different things, but he doesn't know this fucking shit.
Metropolis, re-edited version, and Thief of Hearts, Giorgio Moroder.
With Thief of Hearts, what's that?
An erotic drama.
Never mind. Stop there.
Stephen Bauer and David Caruso.
It's it's got a lot of songs in it as well. The Metropolis, there is a lot of but the actual score, the actual Giorgio stuff in it is great. Absolutely great.
Yeah.
Themes in it are great. So strong no for this for me.
And then it goes to Bolero, of course. Music by Peter Bernstein. Love scene scored by Elmer Bernstein. And that brings us to a close. But for the Mr. Razzie Bullshit Award, Worst Career Achievement Award, which you are going to hate. Linda Blair, Razzie Scream Queen.
What does that mean? No, I've already spoke about my love for Linda Blair. Linda Blair, right? You need to also forget, like, she's been in a lot of shit, and her career got wrecked by The Exorcist and made by The Exorcist. I think that's like a well-known thing.
Yeah.
Exorcist 2, which I spoke about in my weird love with her. She is genuinely great in it. She's really good, and she's older as well. It's got that, like, she could have been a great actress. She needed a better agent, and like, what do you mean by a Razzie? What? Like, what the? No. Strong no. This is why she probably didn't get more work as well. Like, she's always spoke about being.
It's Mr. Razzie's fault.
Yeah, well, but she won it. Like, there's no one else in this category, is it?
Yeah. No, it's the Governor's Award. So she's the only.
So she's coming on. Yeah. Like, we're gonna.
Do you think she got it?
I'm gonna get it for her. This. And you can talk about Exorcist 2 with me, and I can be happy.
And just to, like, as if I haven't made you mad enough, I'm just going to run through some of the stinkers, because we do have the stinkers, which are kind of like an alternative to the Razzies. They stopped running later on, but in 1984 we did have them. So, dishonorable mentions: Beat Street, Body Rock, Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. I had no idea they were the same year.
No. Neither did I.
Cannonball Run 2, Cheech and Chong's The Korskin Brothers, City Heat, The Company of Wolves, Exterminator 2, Give My Regards to Broad Street, Hard to Hold, Hot Dog the Movie, The Ice Pirates, Irreconcilable Differences, Joy of Sex, The Lonely Guy,
Ooh,
Oh God, You Devil, Red Dawn, Sahara, Sheena,
Red
Queen
Dawn.
of the Jungle, Silent Night, Deadly Night,
Yeah, that's a good film.
Slapstick of Another Kind, Supergirl, Teachers, Top Secret, and Where the Boys Are.
Okay.
Those are all the dishonorable mentions, the actual nominees. Rhinestone, The Gods Must Be Crazy, Bolero, Best Defense, but the winner goes to. Would you care to hazard
I
a
had no
guess?
idea. I had no idea. No idea.
If I told you Kyle MacLachlan, Patrick Stewart, Sting, a little auteur by the name of David
Oh, it's his
Lynch made a
best
film
one.
known as June.
Wow. Wow. Over Bolero. Over Breaking Two. Um, maybe the Stinkers is just, and that's trolling at this point, isn't it? Like, that's
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
that's just to try and wind people up. Wow. Yeah, no, 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 no. Obviously, I don't think I've ever spoke about my love of June on here. Fucking Denis wishes he could do his film like that. Yeah, no, like I love June. I love Lynch's June. Despite what Lynch hates about it, it's a mess, but it's my kind of mess. Yeah, that's just trolling. Like all that shit you've named before it. Like, give my regards to Broad Street is better than June. Like, like
Yeah.
fuck off. Like, no. Yeah, surprised that that didn't pop up in the Razzies actually. Now that it got mentioned, especially when we were getting through all the worst,
Yeah.
some of the songs and stuff, and Maka would have been a big name to hit down. Yeah, no, there's a reason why we're a Razzie podcast and not a Stinkers podcast. But then I could have been watching June. You know what? I didn't have to watch fucking Bolero.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
If you have enjoyed this podcast, feel free to leave us a review on your platform of choice. You can follow us on social media where we are Watching Worst, and you can email us at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com with any opinions, any takes you have for this year or the year to come, because we're going to be coming back to you next week with 1997 and The Postman. So we've been behind the curtain talk. We've been kind of speaking about how we've been on a real bad run lately, where I feel like these episodes have been very low. We've not had a good time. We've been like, we need to perk ourselves up. We need to have a Star Trek.
You've been holding.
Just...
I've been holding the Star Trek carrot above front of me for fucking a month now. I think.
Yeah, I feel slightly sadistic. Just another five. Kyle.
Just another Bolero, another
just
bowl.
Ghosts can't do it, and then we'll watch Star Trek. I promise. And The Postman is probably one of the worst things we could do. Beyond Battlefield Earth, like a 3-hour-long Kevin Costner movie, it's not an enticing prospect.
It's not. I think I said to you, I've gone up and down. I dreaded it, and then I kind of looked forward to it for a bit because, I mean, it's a movie. It's a big budget movie. I like Waterworld for what it's worth. I don't like Dances with Wolves, so like it's one of these mixed one Costner. But if it was 3 hours, is what scares me the most.
Yeah,
that's the biggest.
If it was 90 minutes,
oh, any day, twice,
but,
yeah.
Well, that's what we're going to be doing. So it's going to be 90 minutes twice. It's at least going to be an in-person record, so we'll hopefully have some energy to it. So yeah. Join us next week. And the 90s. The 90s are always fun.
It's 97.
Nostalgia.
The second half is, I can at least ramble on for 9 hours about it. But yeah, it should be good fun.
Yeah. So catch us next week for that.
Thank you very much, guys.